Okay, this short video is just an introduction and an overview of the law surrounding redundancy in Ireland, and I'll also show you where to find an online redundancy calculator so that you can calculate your entitlements or your employees' entitlements. Firstly, what is redundancy? Well, there's a very wide definition of redundancy in the Redundancy Payments Acts, and the definition basically covers 5 broad categories. Number 1 is where the employer has ceased business. Secondly, the requirements of the business have changed. In other words, the employer no longer has a need for employees to carry out the particular type of work that is going to be made redundant. Number 3, the employer decides to carry on business with fewer or no employees. For example, there may be the introduction of, for example, technology or machinery to assist with the work. Number 4 is the work is to be done in a different way, and the employee who is currently in the position is no longer qualified to do the job. And finally, the 5th category is that the employer reorganizes his affairs in such a way that another employee in the organization or outside the organization can do other work for which you are not qualified. In other words, there was a slight reorganization in the employment, and somebody else is essentially going to be doing your job. They'll also be doing another job, and you're not qualified for that other job. There are 2 key factors in redundancy. The impersonality factor is the first one. The job is gone. It's nothing got to do with the person, and the person, strictly speaking in law, is not made redundant. The position is made redundant. So the impersonality factor is essential. And secondly, there must be change in the workplace. The redundancy must arise from a change in the workplace, either less employees or a different way of doing the work or doing business. But there must be change. They're the 2 key factors in a redundancy, genuine redundancy situation. In order to qualify then for redundancy, you must have 104 weeks of continuous employment, and you must be dismissed. Now, that is the situation in law in relation to redundancy, and it's amazing how often people may think that they have a redundancy entitlement when in fact they may not, for example, have been dismissed. They may have left the position themselves. As for your entitlement to redundancy payments and how they're calculated, generally you're entitled to 2 weeks' pay for each year of continuous employment. And then on top of that you get an additional 1 week's normal pay, and all earnings over €600 per week are disregarded when making this calculation. There is a very handy redundancy payments calculator on the website of the Department of Social Protection. Simply go to that website and fill out the necessary information, the necessary boxes, and it will calculate your redundancy payments entitlements. For more information about employment law in Ireland, you can visit my website, businessandlegal.ie. I cover quite a lot of information which is helpful to employers and employees, dealing with contracts of employment, dismissal, redundancy, fixed term contracts, part-time contracts, employers' obligations, and so on and so forth. Thank you for watching.